The owl was supposed to eat the squirrel. Instead, she brought him a blanket. It was the coldest night the forest had seen in 40 winters. The trees wore heavy coats of frost, their branches glittering like broken glass in the moonlight. Even the stars seemed to shiver. Beneath a crooked pine, nestled in a bed of withered leaves, a young squirrel named Kip trembled, curled into a trembling ball. He had lost his blanket during a windstorm the day before. It had flown like a red leaf into the woods and vanished. He'd searched it until sundown, but night had stolen the light, and he had no choice but to lie down without it. High above, perched silently on a crooked limb, sat an owl named Thistle. Wide-eyed and wise, she watched the forest like she always did. But this night, her gaze was fixed not on a mouse or a mole, but on Kip. She tilted her head. A squirrel alone in winter was an easy meal, yet something about Kip's shivering shape stopped her. He wasn't moving much. His nose barely twitched. She could hear his tiny heart like a drumbeat swallowed by snow. Thistle had been told stories that owls were feared, that owls were fierce, that they never helped, but Thistle didn't feel fierce. She felt something else, so she spread her wings and soared into the night. In a forest of instincts, Thistle chose kindness. Thistle flew through the trees, through the freezing wind, until she spotted it Kip's blanket caught on a bramble bush, dancing like a flag of hope. She grasped it in her talons, careful not to tear it, and returned to the pine where Kip lay. He was half asleep, his breath barely visible. She landed quietly, gently, then with a graceful motion, she tucked the blanket around Kip's tiny body. Kip stirred, his eyes fluttered open. He saw her. "Are you here to eat me?" whispered Kip. "No, little one. I am here to warm you," said Thistle. Kip blinked, his voice catching in his throat. "But you're an owl, and you are cold," said Thistle simply. From that night on, the forest would remember the moment. Not of hunter and prey, but of something braver, of a heart that dared to help. The animals spoke of it in hushed-awe. The rabbit who once feared shadows now left carrots on the trail. The fox shared her den's warmth with a weasel pup. And up in her tree, Thistle watched, proud and quiet. Compassion is contagious, even in creatures with wings made for silence. Each night, Thistle visited Kip, not to guard him, but to talk. She told stories of stars that could sing, and of owls who learned to paint with their feathers. Kip, in turn, taught her game silly, scampering things that made her laugh for the first time in years. Together, they built something neither of them had known before. A friendship made not of sameness, but of choosing each other in difference. As the winter dragged on, the forest bloomed with small acts. An injured hedgehog found shelter with a badger. The crows left shiny things for the raccoons. Even the snakes, usually silent and unseen, began hissing greetings. Empathy is not weakness, it is strength shared. One evening, Thistle didn't come. A storm had blown in thicker than any before. Kip waited, heart clutched tight. He wrapped himself in the blanket and stared into the dark sky. Then, at the first hint of dawn, she came, her feathers dusted in snow, her eyes warm despite the wind. "I got caught in the storm," she said, tucking her wings. "I saved you some pine nuts," said Kip with a grin. They laughed. Years passed. Winters came and went. The forest grew, and so did the legend of the owl and the squirrel. One spring, a group of young animals gathered under the crooked pine, asking Kip to tell the story once more. He chuckled, older now, but still quick. "She didn't have to help me, but she did. That's what made it magical. What if the strongest creatures are the ones who choose to protect, instead of prey?" As stars painted the night again, Thistle sat on her branch, her heart full. And below, curled in warmth, Kip dreamed of flight. From that day on, whenever a creature was found lost or cold in the forest, someone would appear with a blanket, or berries, or just a warm word. They said it was the spirit of Thistle. Or maybe it was just the forest remembering, because kindness echoes. And kindness, once given, never truly disappears. From claws to paws, from wings to whiskers, remember this courage is sometimes quiet. And love doesn't always look like you expect. The forest listened, and the world watched. Kindlecub lit up once again. The end.